Okay, I think you're on.
Oh, hey, sorry, I'm just doing something. Hang on, I gotta minimize this stuff, damn it.
I think you're on.
Hey, yeah, we're live. We're just
Yeah.
things on there. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Playing the Artist. I'm Antoine. This is my co-host, Alex. Alex.
Hey, I'm Alex. Yeah, I'm the co-host. Man, I feel like we're both kind of tired this morning.
Yeah.
So anyway, so what do you have to show for yourself this week, Antoine?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh man. This
You're still
week
cranking, right?
This week was tough. This week was it wasn't that good. It wasn't that productive that I wanted it to be. And learned some things, figured out some things. And right now, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask what you learned.
Oh, well, I made a bunch of pieces and they're all not done yet. Like they still have to be put into the slice software. Like I still got to make binary files of them and then prep some of them for ZBrush and whatnot. And they just started piling up, and I was just it just kind of dawned on me where I'm the kind of person where if there's too much things that are kind of like put to the side where it's kind of like, oh, I'll do these later kind of thing. Like when there's too much, then it becomes in my peripheral, and then I start like slacking off. I'm like, oh, I gotta do this, and I start thinking about like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and then it's just like, it's just like I don't know, like an alarm that's going off, and it's always distracting me on the next piece I'm doing. So like today, and I'll probably get it all done today. Today, I'm just focusing on getting all the files done perfectly, and I don't have to look at them or see them ever again, and just put them in a Dropbox file and just make them nice and secure, and they're there, and I don't have to worry about them. And because it's funny, because like when I was reading The War on Art, and it talks about, no, it wasn't War on Art, it was Turning Pro, same author. He talks about he had these dishes in the sink for like the longest time. They were just stacked up. And he's a dude, of course, because only dudes do that. And he was saying like he couldn't get any work done. And once he finished the dishes, for some reason, it was almost like his headspace got cleared up and he could focus on his work. And I do that now, where it's like if there's something that has to be done around the house, I'll take care of it and then do it. But I just like went through it in a different way, and the way is like with my work, right? So my digital
art
gave me the same. Yeah, my art pit, my art sink. There we go.
It's debt is what it is, man. You've done a bunch of work. Like each of that work has got a little bit of debt that you need to pay off, and it's the same feeling. But
it's good.
It's not bad. I think you just got to take the time to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So you haven't necessarily printed everything that you've.
I printed this fucking thing. Check this shit out.
Big old box.
Yeah.
Damn, does it open up?
It's all collapsible, like every piece. Like the walls and the roof. Yeah. Did that. And then for
snaps the other reels.
For my free stuff, check that shit out.
Crazy.
I don't know if people can see that very well on the internets, but whatever. It's just some of the stuff I printed or whatnot.
Yeah, you've been releasing a lot of free stuff, which is cool. It's got to be, you're kind of doing two things in tandem, but I think it's good. Is all of it? Are you reserving any of that free stuff?
What do you mean?
Because I was thinking about what you got going on, right? And you're going to launch. When you launch this Kickstarter, it'll be nice to have a Patreon with some content also sitting there, so that you have both of these two things set up when, you know, when, when shit hits the fan, I guess. Maybe that's not the
That's not the plan.
once you get going, that's not the plan.
No. My
What
plan is to do 2 Kickstarters first,
okay.
and then do a Patreon.
Yeah. But you don't want to have a
Well,
Patreon in tandem.
It's Kickstarter, website, Kickstarter, and then Patreon.
Yeah. I think
because the thing is, like, that takes up a lot of time, man. You know what I mean? Well, I guess you could say that you can make the argument of, like, well, you know, you don't have to work at it that hard. Well, no, that's not true. You still have to work at it hard. But maybe it's not your prime focus, I guess.
No, dude, I'm thinking about it like, you know, when
I'm still trying to figure it out.
You know, you build a game level. I don't really know, but this is what I hear. And then, you know, you need to just get, you know, how, like, you put an asset in there in the world, and it's just, like, kind of there for placement, and it's not finished yet, but you have something there to represent that thing. I think that's what your Patreon could be, is, like, not your final years and all that, but a page that's started that has, you know, hey, if you like my models on my free models on Thingiverse, feel free to drop just a whatever donation and support those models here, and that can be your Patreon while these Kickstarters are going. I think you probably
and
already
also making free stuff. Yeah,
you probably have enough content on Thingiverse that, you know, wouldn't be, like, outlandish to have a tip jar, a Patreon tip jar for yourself, just chilling there. And like, it
just make it $1.
Probably it can be modest right now. I think that's reasonable. But then as you start these Kickstarters and because they're going to give you a bunch of traffic, then they'll have somewhere to go. You'll be able to retain them. You won't just lose that traffic. You want to try to capture it, cultivate.
Yeah, I guess that's a point I could do. Yeah,
wrangle it in.
I'm still thinking about I'm still thinking about, like, how I can you know, sell this stuff. Not sell this stuff, but, like, not optimize. What's the word I'm looking for? I guess sell. Yeah, sell this stuff. Give this stuff value. And I'm still thinking about, like, should it be like a monthly thing, or should it be per release? Should it be?
Yeah.
You know, there's a bunch of different little avenues. You know what I mean? So.
I feel like the people that do per release, it's sort of like, it feels like they're doing it in their spare time, and then they're like, hey, we have time to release a project, then
that's true.
When it's something that it's per month, then it's like more of like, okay, this is like a prime focus of mine, and it has steady releases that you can bank on. And it seems like just inherently that requires full-time support, right? So I don't know. You're probably better off to, like, it's probably easier to go, I don't know, maybe it doesn't matter which one you start with, whether you start with monthly or kind of piecemeal. But yeah, maybe you start doing monthly and you realize this is just way too this is just unreasonable to keep up with. But the thing is, like, what's nice about monthly is there's a lot of things you have to pay for on a monthly schedule. So it'd be nice to have that sort of this income that is kind of, you can count on it, and it becomes a routine. And I think you're more beholden to a routine itself and your own deadline if you do a monthly service like that.
That's true. But the same could be said to the per release, right? Because then it's like, okay, I gotta get so many pieces out at the end of the month, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a different kind of deadline. Like the first example you gave there, where it's like a per monthly thing, it's kind of like an expectation of a final month thing. So it's like almost like a final pitch, almost, where it's like, okay, we gotta get this work done, and then we gotta, like, show it and be like, okay, this is what we're offering, and, like, hopefully the people, your backers that you have, are like, oh, sweet, this is awesome, and then also new people will be like, oh wow, this is awesome too. And then the per release thing, it's kind of like, every week there'll be like a little tiny thing, and it's just like, okay, I think it's kind of like the growing. I don't know. I have no idea, but this is what I'm thinking. It's like growing wise, like per release, I guess, like you get paid per release. Your growth is probably a lot kind of, it's probably like a small kind of trickle in, of growth. And then the month ones will probably be like every month, like if you're doing well and you're getting, eyes to your page and whatnot, like your growth probably grows like a big chunk every month. You know what I mean? So I guess it depends like on how the individual kind of feels comfortable on how they release work, right? And how they want to like present themselves, I suppose.
I feel like if I like looking forward to a date. I'm thinking of if I were subscribed to like your Patreon, somebody's Patreon who I was a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
There's something really fun about, man, on on August 3rd, all these new models drop, and I can't wait for that day. And
Yeah.
in fact, I've like scheduled a meetup with my buddies so that we can hang out and use all this new junk that Antoine's made.
Oh, that's a
And
good
then
point. I never thought about it like that.
and if you're doing a piecemeal, there, I don't know if you have that. Maybe you can. You're just kind of like, it's just a flexible cadence, I guess, if you want to be able to offer that. But I think like a monthly drop or even every second month, I think going monthly is good because like it also gives you the ability to like push back on other things you got going on in life because you have this like fixed timeline. You're like, oh no, I've got work to do before this month is over. I can't go out and do this, or I should probably not do that. But when it's on your own release schedule, I think you're pretty good about this. I think this is what I would struggle with is like, if I were in your shoes, I'd have a hard time not doing monthly because when it's on me to just kick it out whenever it's done, whenever I feel like I've put enough time into it, I think I wouldn't have that deadline constantly driving me forward. That I think would really help me to organize and prioritize my
Well, that's like your job though right now, though. You know what I mean? Like you have like a deadline per month pretty much at your work.
It's I work for like every 2 months. I'm expected to deliver like X number of things.
Yeah.
So it's really the same thing.
Did you want to chit chat about that? Chit chat about organization? Like.
Yeah, we could. Yeah. Some planning. We could have. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about your like situation too.
Oh well, it's been like a freaking fucking gong show, dude. Like I said, like last week was such a like just wasn't as productive as I wanted, and just stunk.
I didn't even hear from you very much last week.
No, I was trying to get my shit together and not feel sorry for myself, but I'm better now, and I'm ready to. Well, I'm better now because I figured out what my deal was. My deal was I had this backlog of stuff that's not quite finished, and it's burning a hole in my pocket. And I just got to get rid of it and put it in. Like once it's done, it's done. I don't have to worry about it, and I can move on to the other stuff and not worry about all this other stuff that needs to be done, right? So now I'm like, okay, I know what to do now. So I forget where I read this, but I read where it was like, because when we used to, like you do this where each couple of days in the week you have a meeting, right? Or at least once a week. You guys have like a team meeting.
Yeah.
You guys kind of just talk about like, hey, what are you doing? And what are you doing? Blah, blah. You kind of just like talk about like what the hell's going on. And I decided that I got to have one of those at least once a week. And so on Wednesday, I have a timer on my phone and it rings at 10 o'clock. That's the same time that we used to have meetings. I used to have meetings, whatever, when I used to work on the team back at EA. And I'm just going to have a pitch meeting with myself. Not a pitch meeting, but like a meeting, a stand-up meeting with myself. And I just ask myself questions like, okay, what am I doing? What am I trying to figure out? What am I trying to get done here? And, you know, have a honest conversation with myself about this project. So that's because if I would have had that, I think I could have got to the conclusion of where I'm at right now, where I'm like, I got a bunch of backlog stuff and I got to get rid of it because right now it's distracting me. So, new plan is to have a one-on-one with myself once a week.
That's awesome, man. I think it's good. Yeah, it ties into something I was going to talk about last week with regards to like scope and capacity and project planning and stuff like that. Like there's really three, I guess, like categories of data that you need to balance. They're like scope, capacity, and those get balanced against your release schedule. So scope is all the work that you have to do itemized and then listed in time, in some bucket of time. So like I like days, like this task takes me 1 day to do. This task takes me 2 days to do. And then you write down, like, I guess in your case, every model that you have to make and how many days are associated with that.
Yeah.
And then you could take this debt that you've accumulated as well, this art debt that you have with your other models, and you could associate a bucket of time to that. And I don't know what's in there, but you could individualize the items that are in that debt pile, and then throw some days towards it. You might find that there's actually about 5 or 6 hours worth of work here. Yeah. Then you could say, I'll do
That's
this
a day of work.
Oh yeah, I'll just sit down and do that Saturday. I'll knock that out then, and then I won't have to worry about it. So you got your scope. Your capacity is fixed. You are your capacity. So like, yeah, that's like how much manpower you have, I guess, people power, if I were Trudeau. And it's like, you gotta, sorry, man. So I guess the only capacity balancing is how many hours a day or days per week you want to spend on it. And then the last one is your release schedule. And I'm not sure what your release schedule is, like when you have, when you've committed to yourself to deliver all this stuff.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
Some of those, whatever is fixed, like usually, like for us, the release schedule, I have no control over that. So everything gets planned around the release schedule. How many people we have to work on, how many items we have to complete. And that's what gets balanced. But you, I think, have a bit of control over all of those. You can choose to fix one of them, which is probably your capacity. I mean, you just agreed to 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, just to say, okay, this is it. This is what I'm agreeing to, and this is what I'm planning against. And I'm not changing that. I'm not changing the 7 hours per day, 5 days a week, and then put that aside. And then, maybe you underestimate the time it takes to plan the odd thing, but at least you have that to go against. And if you are working more than that, then then you have a good reason why, and it's not scary because the rest of your plan sort of makes sense. So anyway, that's
what I got from that rant was not a rant. It was anyways, what I got from that, I think what I need to do is I need to really, because what you just said there, manpower, I'm one person, right? So I need to plan individually on one day at a time, essentially, because there's only one of me. I can't say like, okay, we're going to have, okay, this is the scope. This is where I want it to end on like 30 days from now. Well, I'm only one person and there's just a bunch of time in the middle there, right? And how I should plan it out is, okay, 30 days, but what about day 1? What about day 2? What about this day? What about that day? And I should really try to like cut the cake as evenly as possible,
Yeah, because once you put the time against all those tasks, this is a 1 day, maybe like 8 of them are 1-day tasks, and then 3
Well,
or
I'm
4
not
of
even
them.
really doing that, right? Like I'm just
Yeah,
kind of
once
like,
you have that, then you can say, then you split it all up evenly. You can split it all up evenly week to week, and then you say, okay, after this week I should have this done. Then
yeah.
after 2 weeks I should have these done, and then you can
Mhm.
hold yourself to these little micro deadlines, and
Yeah.
it'll tell you if you're on track or not. And you might, like, maybe you ignore, your capacity, your
Yeah.
X number of hours a day, and you just
Well,
say,
here's a problem though. Here's a problem. I'm going to stop you there. Here's a problem. I don't have an art director, right? And I don't have a conceptor or anything like that, right? So what happens is that I find myself doing this. I'll be making something and I'm like, all right, I'm happy with this, and I'll move it to the side, and then I'll be working on another piece, and then something happens where I'm like, oh, this looks really cool, and I'll look back at the other pieces, and I'm like, these are dog shit now, and I'll have to go back and kind of fix and put those ones up to par, which is great, right? Because
it's good that you're actually doing that, because
it works better, right? But
yeah,
I'm going back and forth, and I'm like, something that took 2 hours, well, now I had to do like a redesign of it, right? So I just sunk in another 2 hours in the asset. So like the time is like is really shifty. Like it's hard because, like I said, I don't have an art director, right? So I'm the art director, but at the same time, I don't know what I really want entirely, because this is my first time doing this thing, right? And I'm trying to figure it out. Like I have an idea, I have a reference folder with a bunch of reference, right? But all the references like from different types of games, different kinds of conceptors, and comic books and stuff like that, movies, and yeah. So and it even happens sometimes where I'll like, because once a day I'll go on ArtStation and just like see what's on the first like page, just like the whatever it's called, the like features or whatever. And I'll see something, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then I'll take that and then put it in to something else.
Someone else's model to take that out.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Sorry, wait, what'd you say?
Nothing. I was just kidding around. Like I'll take that. Like you'll literally take their model and then
not take their model, but take the silhouette, take the a little bit of that essence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's Picasso said it the best, where he said, "Bad artists copy, good artists steal," and he doesn't mean steal people's work. He means, hey, that person draws hands really, really well. I want to draw hands like how that person draws hands. And then maybe some person's like, you see another artist and you're like, oh, that person makes really good figures or really good poses. So you take some of those poses, right? And you can hit, you know what I mean? So it's the idea of like, I don't know if you used to do this. I remember I used to be really shitty at drawing, so I would like kind of scribble a lot and be like, it's my style. But really it was just me covering up mistakes.
Oh,
so
yeah.
kind of make it really scary.
Everybody would do that.
Yeah. It's my style,
Still
but it really wasn't. And what my art teacher said, my art teacher was saying, I think we both had him. What's his name? Damn it. Ian? Was it Ian? I forget. He was a life drawing teacher.
Bert?
Not Bert. He wasn't a life drawing teacher.
Oh, gosh. Colin?
Yeah, Colin. I call that guy. I love that guy. He used to, oh my God. He used to never remember my name. I used to go to like extra classes and everything, and he'd be like, and I'd look at him like, dude, it's been 2 years. I'm Antoine. He's like, Antoine, yeah. He's like, I'm sorry. And I remember him saying, you know, when you just make a bunch of lines, well, the only thing you're doing is putting sugar on shit. You can put, doesn't matter how much sugar you put on it, it's still going to be a piece of shit. Same thing with like polish, like it's just like polishing, right? Like polishing a turd. You ever heard that expression? It's still a turd. It doesn't matter if it's a shiny piece of turd, it's still a turd. So just go out there and find stuff that you really enjoy or you feel inspired by, and try to make it, yours in the aspect of like what you've learned and what you have experienced, and make it something even more. So, yeah. It's like building a castle on top of a castle, I guess.
I think it's good to just pop in and see what other people's quality bar is,
Oh,
like,
most definitely.
Easy to forget about that. Be like, this is looking good, I guess. And then you go on, you're like, oh wait, it's not good yet. I could polish this up more. This could look more pro. Could be more thought out.
What is that, you think? Because I remember at a young age when I would draw, like, I don't know if you know this, but I used to draw a lot of anime when I was a kid, but thank God I don't do that anymore. And I remember drawing it and being like, yeah, this is awesome. This is cool. And it's not good, because once you see other stuff, right, it's kind of like, I don't know, when somebody cooks something and it's terrible, but they're eating it like spite, they're like, oh, this is fine, this is great, and they'll keep eating it even though it's like burnt, right? You know what I mean? There's something about the monkey brain when they make something, they're reluctant to be like, this needs to be better. They're just like one and done. Wipe their hands, like, perfect. Now I can, show everybody.
You want it to just good enough already.
Like, what is that? Because it's really easy to take an example of something that's better, and or just look, especially with the internet, and just look around and say the question, ask the question, rather, of is this on par? And chances are it's going to be no. But sometimes it's like, oh, this is actually, I'm happy with this. And you might see other people's work and you'd be like, yeah, okay, cool, yeah.
It sounds like there could be some like primal, like maternal instinct there. Like, oh, I've like made this baby, and 9 months, and then it comes out and your baby's like missing a toe, and you're like, oh, let's fuck this baby.
It's my style.
Yeah. No, you need to, like, even if that baby isn't perfect, you need to kind of still like cherish it and love it, regardless, and see past its little flaws.
Yeah, I guess that's the creative element, right? Well, you sink in your time in it, I guess, right?
Yeah, you spend all this time on it, and then it's a new thing in the world, and then you're like, oh, look at this thing I brought into the world. Isn't it beautiful?
But here's the dilemma. Remember I was talking about before the why I don't make illustrations anymore, right? Because I was trying to get people's approval through my art.
Yeah.
And it was just feeding me and making me upset, because I would focus on like numbers or people liking my work and whatnot. Like it falls in that same category, right? Because if you're making this thing and you're reluctant to like look at other people's work or actually critique your personal projects, then I guess in a way you're not doing it for the right reasons. Then if you're doing it for the reasons of like putting it on ArtStation or putting it on Instagram for likes, then you're not really there for a critique or for like to grow.
You know what, dude?
Sorry,
have I ever
go ahead.
talked to you about this? Like,
Go ahead.
like, let's say, I feel like on 60% of posts, it's just not even transparent what you're describing. People will like post something. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's just whatever. And like at the end of like the description is always, hope you like it, right?
Yeah.
At the end of like an art post of like, hey, I'd like
I've
to share
done
this thing I'm working on, blah, blah, blah. It's an ogre. It has 3 heads. Hope you like it. And everybody does, like, everybody puts hope you like it at the end. And it's like, really, well, of course you do, it's like, but I know.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say.
No, I like, when I'm typing, I feel the same urge.
Well, you're a piece of shit then.
Yeah. Well, everybody, I'm not saying everybody is a piece of shit. I'm saying like there's something that inside of you that it compels you to like ask for that, even directly.
Ask for people's approval.
Yeah. Hope you like it.
This is what you should say instead, because oddly enough, not oddly enough, but there's a couple pieces in my Thingiverse page. I put any suggestions or critiques are welcome. I put that instead. I think that would be a healthier thing to ask for. Instead of putting hope you like it, put any suggestions or critiques are welcome. And then people might say like, hey, that ogre with the 3 heads, you know, like it'd be cool if it had a fourth head. And you'd be like, oh, hey, that's an idea. Or somebody might say like, oh, his shoulder has no light or whatever. And you could be like, yeah, you're right, that shoulder has no light. Or somebody might say something and they might not know what they're talking about. And that's great for you because then you could say like, well, I disagree because, you know this, and this person seems more of a novice and they don't know what they're saying. They're just kind of repeating things. So yeah, maybe do that instead. Next time you post something, say any suggestions or critiques are welcome.
Yeah.
And then maybe somebody will actually say something that's actually of substance, you know?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But like the universe.
I'm just going to stop you there. This is the thing though. Yeah. People, it takes a lot of typing to give a critique too. You know what I mean? To like be like.
I was about to say oh yeah, sorry, I'm cutting you off now.
I'm going to stop. I cut you off like 3 times today. You go ahead.
It's a weird place to ask for a critique because they don't know what your goal is. They don't know what your style is. You know, the best critique you're going to get is maybe an anatomical one where it's like, oh, this structurally here is wrong, but like, you know, and that, I guess that's a valid kind of like it's like a check. It's like a checklist, but it's not as a critique. Like a critique, I feel should be, what could you have done differently to communicate whatever you're trying to say better?
Yeah.
And like, how does everybody know what you're trying to say? You know, maybe you did such a good job that everybody knows exactly what you're trying to say, and they say, oh, you know, if you would have added like this other, some other element into your drawing, then like would have been better or more successful. But you know, without that knowledge, it's like really hard to give a valuable critique. You know, you want to say, oh, the fur could look better or the anatomy could look better. It's like, well, you know,
yeah,
I don't know. Either you've missed the boat so far that you're like, how is that really going to help you for next time?
No, but that's what I'm trying to. When I was saying, you still have to take like every comment, depending on the comment, you gotta gauge it yourself, right? If let's say you make something and there's thousands of likes and thousands of comments or whatever, and then there's one comment that says, "Oh, the fur could have been better" and stuff. You know what I mean? Well, but then you're just focusing on that one thing. But clearly, you know, let's say, like I said, like 1,000 other people think it's awesome and cool. So you got to take each comment and kind of like properly dissect it, right? And even be a little bit of a spy too. Like if someone leaves a comment like that, go to their page and see, and if they're another artist, it depends if they're another artist or another creator, go to their page and see what they've made or what they do or whatever, right? Or like what's on their page. And if their stuff is dog,
they look at their work.
Yeah, and look at their work. And I'm not saying you should be an asshole, but maybe you should be like, this person clearly is not as skillful, you know, as yourself or maybe other people that you look up to. Then you can kind of say like, well, maybe I could just leave that comment aside, you know?
But even that, what you're describing right there.
That's a shitty thing to do, but I do it. So
that's the act of posting your work on like an artwork on an artist forum somewhere. That's all artists, right? Like that kind of critique. That's really, I feel like that's really just, you know how we talk about like pandering for likes?
Yeah.
That's a bit, I think that's even more extreme like pandering because
it's peers.
Like, they're not there to digest your medium. They're just there to like assess your skills, basically. It's not like
Okay.
you're posting to like you're an artist, you're
like
the furry
yeah, like a
and you're
D&D
posting on a furry page.
Yeah.
And then furry people are commenting. They at least know what you're trying to do a little bit better. I think like that's the kind of community that you should be reaching out to with your art. You should have somebody, you should have something like.
You shouldn't always be cooking a meal for Gordon Ramsay.
Like it should be enjoyable beyond just the fact that it's like took some art technique to create it.
I see what you're trying to say. You're trying to make a line of peer and public, I guess you could say, right?
Kind of, I guess. I think there's crossover, but like it's just identifying like who your art supposed to speak to. Maybe it only speaks to you, but I don't know.
Well, no, that's a good point though, because there's plenty of people on Instagram where you look at their work and they have like 50,000 followers, and their illustrations are dog shit. They're just like little. There's kind of like a lot of comic illustrators I find. Not a lot. Well, there's quite a few. They have no skill. Like all their shit's just kind of basic and just blobby and like not that interesting. But they've been doing it for so long, and they tell little stories, and then people feel connected with the stories, and then now they have 50,000 followers, and now they sell beanbags. I have no idea, right? And it's I know what you're talking about. It's kind of like you gotta. There's a point where it's like, okay, here's my skill, but then also let's just make some stuff, and then if people like it, I'm gonna keep doing it, and then from there, you can carve out your niche, and then pay rent with your artwork, which is at the end of the day, that's what everybody kind of wants. Well, not everybody. I just mean artists, right? They want to pay their bills. God damn it.
I think where I'm going is that it's like if you're working on, like we as artists, we post something and then there's that description where you could write, hope you like it, if you want to just have the worst post ever. So what we're kind of doing is working on, what do we say here? Like, who are we speaking to? What do we say here that's like valuable and doesn't suck? But
maybe we need to be more confident on the post. Maybe it should be more of instead of critiques or suggestions or hope you like it, you just tell your little story, tell your little thing, and just put it out there and just walk away.
I kind of think so, because I don't mind like a critique and comment kind of, hey, what do you think? But that steers you towards the art tutorial community, like the art, I don't know, just the technical kind of suggestion community, whatever that forum is. And I think you want to steer towards like a fan base, like of people, a community of people who are into this. Because I follow programs that I follow the map, this girl Misty.B, and she makes just beautiful maps, right? And we're not talking really about, hey, what brush are you using, what line are you using? It's like, what's that?
Did you show me that person?
I don't know. I may have showed you on.
Does she have a Patreon?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question. I should have looked it up.
Because I remember you showed me a Patreon of a dude that just makes these awesome, not free, but he has a Patreon where you can give him money, and then he gives you access to files where you could just print out of these great, gorgeous.
No, that's a different artist. That's
Anyways, I cut you off there.
Doing illustrations.
Anyway,
I don't know. I think that girl Misty B is I couldn't quote you one of her posts right now, but when she posts, she's talking to other map illustrators in her niche community there, people that kind of that are following that, and not this kind of void of art critics, I guess, right? That's kind of what it is. It's this big volume of art critics that you're trying to appease. Where do you want your likes to come from? I want my likes to come from real people, and
artists are not real people.
Yeah, it's right that we're not.
No.
So I
No,
just want to think about steering it the other way. Like
yeah, no,
steering it
that's a
in a
good
more
point.
practical way.
That's a good point. That's right. That is right. Jeepers.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's like the group 10,000 hours, right? Like when you're posting on 10,000 hours, everybody there is like this artist on this path to be this epic artist. And so
I think that 10,000 hours thing is total horseshit. I think I really think, well, sorry, I shouldn't say it's total horseshit.
like as a rule or as a Facebook group?
No, the rule, not the Facebook group, the rule. Because there's people that, I don't know, they just excel at something because they're just wired differently, right? Like for me, I don't have any musical capacity. I really don't. But I have cousins that are great musicians and they're really good at, you know, they like, I have a cousin and she does like the mandolin. You know what a mandolin is?
No.
It's like a little tiny guitar. It's kind of like, there you go, mandolin. Sorry, I only know the French word.
You didn't say it the hillbilly way.
Mandolin? That's the hillbilly way?
No, I said I understand it the hillbilly way.
Oh, mandolin. Anyways, a mandolin, and she plays guitar and she also plays violin. I'm pretty sure she plays the piano too. And she can, you know, she hears music, right? And I can hear it and enjoy it, but she can like break it down in her head. I can't do that. So if let's say we were the same age and same environment, same music teacher and all that stuff, she would probably excel more, right? So my 10,000 hours wouldn't be compared to her 10,000 hours. Her 10,000 hours are completely different than mine because she just understands it better, just learns it differently, right? So yeah. It really depends on the person, but I'm not saying though, don't put the hours in and if you put the hours in and you won't get good. Of course, you'll get good at anything if you put, you know, thousands of hours in something, right? But it really depends on your temperament and what comes to you, right? Or what you want to achieve as well. That's another thing. Because there's a lot of people that are really good at things. There's some people that really suck at things, but they really want to do it, so they'll do it. So
yeah, and there's a degree to which some things come naturally to some people, and then others do not. And
yeah, like for me, like I have a hard time reading and writing, right? Because of my learning disability. I don't even like calling it a learning disability. I just say I'm slow, and so there's no real excuse then, right? If I say learning disability, then there's a roof, right? So it's like it's like learning disability, boom, and then it just sits there, right? So yeah. I just say it's slow. So if I say I'm slow, well, that means I can keep going, right? So I'm just slow.
I love that you don't have like in your mind, in the home that is your mind, you don't have a shelf for excuses. Like an excuse pops in. I used to. Like, where do I put this? It just falls right down. It's like, no, I got nowhere for these excuses.
I used to be like that. I used to always say like, oh, I can't do this because of my learning disability. Oh, I would just like run away. But oh no, I can't because I have my learning disability. I can't read this. Oh, I'm having trouble. I can't do this. I can't do. I need someone's help. I can't do this. And the thing is, like, I just wasn't trying. I wasn't really doing anything. And you know what the worst part was? Is there's a name for it, and there's like professionals that diagnose you and put it in paper, right? So I don't have the document anymore. I'm pretty sure I threw it out. I actually had documents saying that like, oh, Antoine Marchildon has this type of learning disability and blah, 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 like the scientific paper on it. Mm. And so in a weird way, I have this document, right, saying like, look, I can't do this thing. It was like a document of excuse. Like I have the paperwork for my excuse. And that was so damaging for me, especially in college, right? And there was just a certain point where I was just like, nah, man, I'm just slow. I'm just being lazy. I'm not really, this learning disability thing, that was just an excuse for me just being lazy. That's all that was. So I'm just slow. Where was I going with this whole thing? I'm slow. I don't know,
but I like it.
Yeah, no. Because
keep telling me about how slow you are.
There was a young girl at college, and she's an animator, and she had this thing where her arms didn't grow properly, so she had these like kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, she had some. Now that you mentioned it, I remember. Yeah, she had some atrophy or something, and it must have been difficult to hold a pencil.
Yeah, she couldn't even do that or anything, and well, she could, but it was really hard for her. But she didn't, the whole time she was there, and she was animating and stuff like that. She didn't complain once. She didn't say, and she didn't was like, I can't do this. She would just like, I'm doing the damn thing. And like the keyboard was like sideways, and she would have to like use the mouse and then go over here. And like, it took her longer, but she did the damn thing, and she didn't complain once. And she worked at Bardell. She worked on, I don't know what else she's done, but I know she's worked on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle TV show. You know what I mean? So it's like, this person had, like,
I don't know where she went.
Yeah, this person had, like, I don't know, like I have full range of my arms. She probably has, I don't know, maybe 20%. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, well, fuck, I got no excuse, goddammit. You know?
Yeah, anyone had an excuse.
Yeah, like, anyone had an excuse. It should be her. But she, not once. Yeah, so looking at, you know, when I saw her, I was like, oh my God, I'm such a piece of shit. Because
you went home, you crumpled up your diploma, your
no, to be honest, I was such a lazy piece of shit. I just lost it. I just lost it because I just wasn't organized. But yeah, so anybody's listening to this and you have an excuse, shut up and just do the work. No one cares. So just do it.
Yeah. Worst that can happen is somebody says, "Oh yeah, that's a good excuse," and then they let you have it.
Yeah,
and you lean on it more.
Yeah, you get to justify for not being what you could be. You're justifying your failure, which is poison when you think about it. Because failure, because we talked about this before. I'm pretty sure where failure is it's good for you, right? Because that means you're getting closer to the thing that you're trying to get better at, right?
Well, you've at least tried. It means you've at least taken a step in that direction.
Yeah. And then when you put a thing over where it's like, you're, you know, it's okay, because of your learning disability. Well, you're justifying the failure and not growing from it. That didn't make sense, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I do.
It seems like when we talk, we just like ramble, and there's kind of sense, and then we talk too long, and then everything kind of falls apart, and then we just look like big dummies.
I like that.
We should call this playing the dummies.
Yeah, well, I wanted to call it Two Country Dummies.
No, because we're not country dummies. We're not dummies. We're just slow. No, words matter, man. Right? So that's why that's why I didn't want country dummies. That's why.
Yeah.
Words are important. Hey, let's talk about our week, and we'll start shutting it down here. So
yeah.
What are you going to do this week besides going to work and ship this project?
Yeah, something I've been working on lately is, so there was a lot, like you and I are pretty new to printing, and we put a lot of effort into just getting printers to work and print as you'd expect. Yeah. And for the most part, I think I can print stuff pretty well. But what I'm trying to like I'm trying to advance from that now. Like I felt kind of complacent in that, like, oh, I can print whatever I want now, and I've got my settings dialed in. So now I'm trying to print like 5 things at a time, or like, I'm trying to really push sort of like how many I can pump out in one go.
I'll give you a tip. Try to put everything really close together, because if it's I find when it's a little apart, there's more chance for the print head to kind of nick the print a bit.
Oh yeah.
And it kind of moves it a bit. So if they're closer together, I find that there's a less of a chance for it to kind of make it move, essentially make the print move. Also, time-wise as well. If you have 2 pieces like in each corner, the print time is going to take such a long time because the print has to travel all the way to one side. Yeah. So put everything as tight as you can, I would say.
I've been using just the Cura algorithm to kind of, you hit, oh, how many do you want? You hit 5, and then it just like spaces them out.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I do it manually. I put them in, and I try to maneuver around it. I try to like put them as tight as possible. And sometimes what will happen I'll see how much time it gives you, the estimated time. That time is bullshit, by the way. The Cura time limit it gives you.
Oh, really? Mine's pretty spot on.
Really? Oh, not for me. Mine's always like a few minutes off. Mine's like sometimes 10 minutes off.
See, I consider that pretty accurate. I guess because I'm printing days at a time. Like, well, I'm not always, but yeah, I've done like, this is a 24-hour print, and sure enough, it's like I started at 10 and it ends like the next day at 10. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure there's got to be,
some leeway.
I don't know what if it can, like, considers your printer's warm-up routine, if it does anything prior to printing, like mine will clean the nozzle and check the corners, and maybe yours just
checks the corners. Mine cleans it. Mine does the clean. But mine does not check the corners. Mine's
Well, that's the bed levels. Anyways, I'm going to be working on printing several horses at a time. I tried it one time. I threw 5 horses on there, and 3 of them came out okay. 2 of them, the supports basically broke, like you said, from travel and knocking itself over. And then so I'm going to see if I can get that to 5 out of 5 horses, and then I'll feel good.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say sometimes when you have them out on the bed, move them around a bit, maybe. Like, think about how the head's going to travel, and like mess around with what's that? It's like a scaling thing where you can like actually see the layers, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like, mess around with that and actually look around. And there's another slider where it shows where the print head's going around. Yeah. I would say try to find a way you can place these horse heads or whatever, and try to find a way where the print head is kind of staying in sync, like this. You know what I mean? Like, if it's going around to like each corner like that, stuff like that, like sporadic, I think that's when there's more problems. I think when the print can kind of stay very simple, you'll have better results. But that's just me. That's what I think. I have no idea.
No, it's worth trying, because that's definitely what's causing those 2 failures I had, is the print head traveling over its own path and knocking itself over. But I mean, I've had that happen before on just printing one thing. So,
well, you try an even number instead of an odd number, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
No, I want to put.
So you're just gonna you just want to do a stress test essentially on your printer. Is that what you want to try to do?
Yeah, I feel like because like I use my printer to like prototype whatever I'm working on. Yeah. But if I don't have anything new that's exciting for me to print, then I'm like, okay, how can I dial in my settings or my methods or whatever, so that this is just a more effective machine? You know what I mean? Because it's out of the box, it's tuned for you, but then once you start making your own modifications and for your own needs, you have to really kind of go off on your own and figure out what like the best approach is to get it to do what you want to do, because not everybody is printing exactly what I'm printing, these little miniature figure dudes. So you do have to kind of tailor it to what you're doing. So that's what I'm trying to push it even further now, where I could print, you know, several horses at a time.
Dude,
then I'll move on to something else.
The next couple of years here, like printing's gonna get real interesting, I feel. Like right now, there's nothing out that's like been really like, I haven't seen anything that's been really like ooh, this is gonna be the next thing, kind of, you know what I mean? So I have a feeling like in like a couple of years here, we're gonna see some crazy shit when it comes to printing. It's gonna be interesting. This feels like there's gonna be another renaissance of 3D printing. You know what I mean?
A renaissance of 3D printing.
Well, I think sorry. I don't even know what renaissance means. It just sounds like a fancy word.
Like the golden age of a thing. Like,
yeah, but isn't the golden age like there's that Iron Maiden song, what's it called again? I think it's called Golden Age or something like that, right? There's an Iron Maiden song.
Maybe.
The Golden Years, I think it was called.
And
the whole song's talking about like
wasted years.
Yeah, the wasted years. Yeah. And but it talks about that, like it's like talking about like the golden years. And what I got from that song was like, the golden years are only golden is because you stopped living and you just start reminiscing. The golden years are right now. If you're still breathing, you're in the gold, right? That's the way I see it. And anybody that sits back and like, do you ever go back to Alberta there? Or like when I go back to Saskatchewan, I'll talk to some of my old friends and stuff, and also like relatives, and they'll talk about like, oh, like back in the blah, 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 right? And they reminisce and they think through it through like rose tinted glasses. And it's just like, it's like, dude, what are you talking about? You're still alive. You can still do a lot of more stuff, but it's almost you get older, you have more responsibility, right?
Yeah.
And when you're a kid or when you're just young and you're like running around doing things and whatnot, you're like, oh, the golden years or whatever. It's like, what?
It's easy for those to be your golden years because you're young, you've got lots of energy. There's friends everywhere. There's people your age everywhere. Like it's impossible not to meet somebody your age. And everything's planned for you, you know, like your parents are like, put him in this thing, you know, make sure he goes to school. And then after school, he's got this. And there's always a meal table.
For me, those weren't the golden years. Like my small town I grew up in, like only had 200 people, right? So I didn't get to choose my friends. My friends were just the people that were there, right? So I just had to like assimilate and get along, and then even in college, I found it hard. Not hard. Well, yeah, it was hard, but I don't know. I always say this, where every couple of years, I ask myself, would I've been friends with myself, younger Antoine? Would I be friends with him? And a lot of times I'll say, no, I don't think I'd be friends with him. And I think that's good, because that means I'm growing and I'm being something more than what I used to be. So there's always a feeling for me to always kind of improve and be a better Antoine, a better Antoine from like 2 years or a year ago, right?
Yeah, you don't want to go too far, because like you can get to the point where like nobody meets your standards either.
Oh yeah, that's very true. No, I'm still a butthead. You know what I mean? Like I still love video games and nerdy things and talk about art and stuff like that. But how can I phrase this so I don't sound so pretentious? Sorry, would I be impressed? Maybe that's would I be more impressed with this Antoine? Like would past Antoine look up to future Antoine? or present. Past Antoine, look up to present Antoine. That's what I mean. Yeah, that's a better, you know what I mean? If my old Antoine could see me now and be like, oh, that's better. I like that. That's good. That's
Would he be like, oh, Jesus, is that where I'm going?
Yeah, that would.
Where my life is going.
But this is the thing, though. There's still a little bit of that, too. You know what I mean? Like, there's always like, geez, Antoine, you shouldn't eat a whole pizza, you know? Did you really need to eat all those bags of chips? So yeah, there's all that stuff. But for me, what I'm going to do for this week, I'm, like I said, right now I'm just going to be focused on cleaning up everything and getting everything out of the way, and then from there, just move on to the next thing. I got to take things like I did one day at a time. You know what I mean? I can't think like I got to get this done, and I got to get this done now. It should be more like, what am I doing? Let's focus on this. I want to model this little thing. Let's just focus on that thing right now. And when it gets done, then we'll move on to this thing. Instead of like, you know, super, super harsh, you know, down to the bone where it's like, this has to be done now. And then you just kind of rush, and then you overthink things, or you go over something really fast and you don't give it the love it needs. And then you have to go back, and it just kind of becomes this big pile of not quite finished stuff.
Yeah, well, leave yourself some time to come back and art direct yourself, right? Like, you don't have the luxury of having somebody step by with fresh eyes who knows the vision.
Yeah.
You know, there's nobody who's going to do that for you. So you kind of need that to develop those fresh eyes by looking at other things. And then you'll get that second pass, that honest second pass, once you distance yourself from it. I think like working on a couple of things in tandem is nice, because you make a thing, and then, like you said, maybe it's good enough, maybe it isn't, but you know, it's kind of done. So you put it down, then you have that afterglow of, I just made this thing and I love it. And then you make the next thing, and to the point where it's like, oh, you've got the afterglow, and oh, here's this thing and I love it. And then that's when you go back and look at the last thing you did, because you don't have this is my new baby anymore. And that's a good time to like say, okay, what can I do better about this baby? How can I make this baby more beautiful?
I have to be more aware, I think. I have to actually know when that moment you're talking about, you were just saying, right? You were saying like, oh, I'm happy with this and this looks good, and moving on to the next thing. I have to be, I have to be more aware and really like sit back and ask myself the question, oh, okay, now it's time to move on, or am I happy with this? Because
there's a point where you could be, maybe you are making it better, but maybe you're only making it 1% better, and you're going to spend an hour making it 1 or 2 or 3% better, when you could be spending that hour making something, blocking in something new, getting that, you know, roughly to like 60% of something.
Yeah.
So
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah.
All right, then. I think that's it. What do you think, Alex? That's it?
I think so. It's definitely been an hour.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know what else to say anymore.
All right, me too. I got to take a pass. What are we going to talk about?
Right.
Not talk about. This is what I'm going to say. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Playing the Artist. You can follow me on the Instagrams. Still don't have a Facebook. I put my information out there to try to get my I did the process of like trying to get my Facebook page back. But anyways, you follow me on Instagram. Link will probably be down below. And if you're a fellow 3D printer, consider maybe printing one of my models, because they're pretty cool, I think. Alex, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Tiger Skull RPG. That's the page where I print things, and I put things up there, and I show little illustrations of nerdy, you know, fantasy stuff. So yeah, find me there. There's links in the description of all this stuff. The other thing I want to mention was that YouTube it's like it's media creator functionality is changing. So it may, I don't know, it may impact like the format of the show. I'm not sure. We're gonna have to like do a couple like test broadcasts to try the new tools, because the way we're doing it now is going to be phased out. So,
are you serious?
I mean, yeah, it sucks.
Christ, we just started.
I know, it's lame. Yeah, so apparently, I think we have till the end of this month to figure out.
We need to get together.
Like we can continue to do it the way we're doing it until the end of this month, and then we have to figure out some new way to do it. So hopefully, there's still the same functionality, and it's just hidden in different command and stuff. But I mean, it may change. They look a little different.
Yeah, for sure.
But, I mean, what can you do? So, yeah, that's all. That's it.
All right then. God damn it. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for joining, and we've got to figure out things, and see you at the next one, y'all.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Ciao.
Ciao.